true. It's generally a pretty fast deck. It finds wins relatively quickly. And to kick things off, we are going to get the Nightfall from Deach. We are going to have the opportunity to see how fast he can go to kick things off once again.
Yeah, and this feels like this is like, if I had to guess, this was the one loss that Deach got was to this deck. You know, just the amount of AoE and life gain and relatively solid, you know, turn 8-9 clock should be good against most of what Deach is putting out for both decks. But you know, here, if Deach is able to take a win off of this deck, it is going to be quite nice and quite a big boon for him.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's already some good AoE, right? Blighted Ravine. The box can actually be a good answer to a lot of things that Deach wants to do, especially when we see those big, you know, swings with Stygian onlookers. You can respond with a box. Like, even potentially this turn, right, if it's double Stygian, there's actually a better answer, to be honest, with the Ice Shard, which is actually great in this matchup as well. But these are the opportunities where we could see something like the box come out.
Yeah, I mean, we could also see just Kindly Tavern Keeper. Yeah, no, it's not gaining the life literally, but it is effectively gaining life by you know, stopping an attack here and potentially even thwarting the goat entirely. And you know, this paired with the Ice Shard could be devastating depending on how much Deach wants to commit. Doesn't look like it's going to be much though.
Yeah, I mean, if you know there, for instance, was a Stygian onlooker here, that'd be a great way to kind of bait in. You get the block on the goat, and you clear away two things with the Ice Shard. Really set yourself up for success early on. But no, just going to be 2 damage and a trade of a 2-drop versus a 3-drop. Each will be setting up for that turn 5 swing to be the big one potentially here.
Yeah, and this is the, you know, damned if you do, damned if you don't scenarios that Sqweeby's deck is able to set up, right? If Deach overcommits on this turn, all of a sudden Blighted Ravine comes down and stops the entire swing. If Deach commits all in one turn, well, we see that box able to come in at fast speed and really punish that. So Deach needs to walk a fine line of diversifying his on different turns to potentially, you know, survive through this AoE. And now, you know, the Blighted Ravine comes down, which is maybe a win for Deach, considering it was only, you know, 2 relatively low impact units coming down. But now Deach really can't go too ham because of the box as well.
Yeah, and I'm curious as to how many copies of the box exist here. It is just going to be 2. It becomes very tough to pick and choose what you play around if you're Deach, you know, because Avalanche, the box, Withering Whale,
Ice Shard.
Ice Shard, yeah. I mean, there's so many different things, and you just got to figure out, okay, well, what am I going to play around? And going for the Nocturne, I mean, trading Nocturne and a 2-1 Ephemeral for the box is one of the better cases, I think, that you're going to get if you're Deach. So, Pale Cascade, actually, that will protect against the box, preempting it.
Yep.
Just deciding he wanted to deal that extra damage and draw that card anyway makes it pretty awkward. Sqweeby considering, like, okay, do I still play this? Like, do I still play this box or not?
Yeah, and I mean, just brilliantly played by Deach here. Really, you know, knowing the options that Sqweeby has and just trying to make it as awkward as possible, right? Sqweeby does really kind of have a little bit of everything, so you can only play around so much. And you can't perfectly play around things, right? But what Deach did and what you're, you know, trying to do is just make it as awkward as possible. That box there, it felt pretty bad. If I'm being completely honest, that felt like a very, very low impact box. And that's exactly what you need to do if you're Deach.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge for Deach. He still gets to maintain this Nocturne on board. He actually gems it, so it's going to be out of range of a potential Ice Shard down the line. And I think, you know, the fact that he got past the box, he may feel more comfortable with bigger developments now. And so long as Sqweeby doesn't land a second box, Deach is starting to look to be in a much better position. We don't know the hand, of course. It seems like there's desync between the streams, but
I
There
kind of
are
like
a lot
the
of
not
good
seeing the
options.
hand in this scenario, because it's like, what does Deach have? What does Sqweeby need to be playing around? What is the scariest thing? It's fun to do that every once in a while, for sure. And now, what's interesting is that because that box was so low impact, if I'm Deach, I'm almost getting a read that there's another box for Sqweeby, which could end up playing to Sqweeby's favor, if Deach respects that.
Yeah, and Blighted Ravine gonna come down. That will take care of Nocturne. Crescent Guardian is gonna be the play from Deach, just a single unit once again. But I think the big thing that is on my mind is gonna be that Atrocity, right? 14 health right now for Sqweeby.
Yep.
And that's kind of the big card. It's a one of in Deach's deck, but it is a big card that you have to worry about and play around throughout the game, as we actually are going to see the Diana level up here, which is going to help create some pressure for this Crescent Guardian to be able to get through and push its damage.
Yeah, I mean, Crescent's probably not long for this world, although,
oh, is this just a bug, or
I hope so.
Or is Deach gone?
Okay, no.
Let's see. It looks like a bug.
I've never seen that happen.
Yeah, I have never seen that bug.
We just move on and pretend like it didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, suppose so. I mean, that probably explains the desync for us. Maybe Deach is lagging a little bit, but it seems like he's still in the game.
Right. Hey, Sqweeby's got a couple of options. Doesn't necessarily have to commit any now. It is to his advantage to commit a Vile Feast early because it gives him an additional blocker. Though right now it doesn't actually give him an additional blocker. Although it actually does. Well, Ice Shard plus Vile Feast will clear this and have Sqweeby end up only taking one.
Yep, it does leave a Diana on board, which is a little bit scary, and just kind of checking in on Sqweeby's hand. I didn't really take note of this before, but the 3x Matron is just atrocious. Like, one of the worst hands that Sqweeby could be having here.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, though, the Matrons came from the Bjergs. Also, the ordering on the... Okay, yeah, Sqweeby figured it out. The ordering on that was incorrect. But now, like, Pale Cascade all of a sudden is turning into, 4 damage here? Potentially even more. Yeah, I mean, Pale Cascades look amazing here.
Yeah, Pale would certainly be great. Can push quite a bit. It could push 5, or it can push 4 and keep the Doom Beast alive. Fading Memories is pretty nice, just for some extra damage. With the Doom Beast onto Dusk.
And
yeah,
onto Dusk.
Just gonna be pushing damage with this Doom Beast.
Yep. But only a little bit of damage though. The onslaught kind of stopped a bit from Deach, and the unfortunate part for Sqweeby is that there's not really any follow-up. We are multiple turns and multiple draws away from even threatening anything in terms of a Watcher combo. I mean, we could see just good old-fashioned play an 8-drop, play 12 power for 8 mana. That's a possibility, but that's probably not good enough. Yeah,
I mean, it certainly doesn't feel good enough. The Entreat is going to look for essentially a Trundle to try and take control of the board a little bit. I mean, Matron is certainly interesting, but the ephemeral part of it is just pretty useless in the matchup overall.
Yeah.
You are pressuring a lot of damage, and you've got a Harsh Winds to try and protect, so maybe this is like a line where you start racing, a 2-turn clock kind of thing, but
yeah,
I'm not sure that is necessarily going to work out super well for Sqweeby at the end of the day.
It could, considering that the Harsh Winds is there. That's a pretty solid, prevent a counter swing A pretty solid way to prevent a counter swing. Sqweeby not attacking with the real matron is interesting. I suppose the thought is like you're probably winning on the next swing anyway. Okay, and Deach doing what this Nightfall deck wants to do, which is go as wide as possible.
Yeah, he's gone wide. He's got the Doom Beast in the back pocket. There is going to be the harsh winds for some protection for Sqweeby and a little bit of healing with the Catalyst. So it's like he is at least alive for now.
Yeah, you can harsh winds to gain 5, or you can Catalyst to gain 3. Okay, you can actually harsh winds to gain 6 if you block differently, but it doesn't. Then it doesn't kill. And it doesn't kill Diana. Okay, so only 2 getting in on the side of Deach. Of course, see at least 2 additional that can come in with that other ephemeral Doom Beast.
Yeah, we'll see if Deach makes any moves here. Onlooker.
Stygian to proc Nightfall, I would imagine.
Unto Dusk.
Ooh, Unto Dusk is huge. Although, do you need to actually have Nightfall to trigger the Nightfall with Unto Dusk? I actually don't know how that works.
Yeah, you want... Yeah, it's like, just a... I think it's just a draw one, if no Nightfall.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, I mean, Avalanche pretty cleanly deals with this board.
It does, but Deach is now, just 2 damage away because we see the visible Doom Beast. Now, we know there's a Catalyst, so
yeah,
it's going to be a little bit more than that, but curious how Sqweeby pulls this back, considering the hand is still pretty rough with just the double Matron. It's Trundle on Entreat. Tough Nexus could have been nice if Lysandra was online, and I think Lysandra is with the earlier Matron play.
Yep. All right, Avalanche coming through. Each giving a sad Poro. The flight.
Okay, the flight.
That is quite good from Deach, actually. Considering it obviously procs the Doom Beast and also is a pretty reliable 2 damage on an open. Okay, there's the Doom Beast to get the other 2. This will threaten to kill Sqweeby.
Yeah, I mean, the Catalyst for now is going to keep Deach alive, or keep Sqweeby alive, that is. I'm just curious with those last 2 cards. I mean, is one an Atrocity? Atrocity is safe here on Doom Beast to deal 3. Unto Dusk.
Oh, that'll do it.
That's another Doom Beast proc, another draw.
All right. Well,
Atrocity would end it if it's there, but Nocturne instead.
Nocturne's pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, this is big.
Well, I guess Nocturne actually doesn't change anything. Still gets blocked by this Matron.
Well, you can pull with the flight, have 6 going through on the open.
That is true.
Immortal Fire was pulled from the Invoke.
Okay, so here's an interesting thing. I found this out because of Runeterra Unhinged on Twitter. Spirit Fire onto the Immortal Fire does nothing. Spirit's Journey.
Spirit Journey does nothing?
It doesn't do a thing. It will not stop it.
Interesting. I thought it was gonna have some weird interaction where it gives you a second one or something.
One.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know.
I thought too.
I thought it was gonna do something weird, but no, it just does nothing.
It just does nothing. It just doesn't. I think it just counts as killing it once.
All right. Well,
Which,
it did nothing, and Deach picks up a win.
yeah.
That's going to be 1 game down for Deach. He just needs 1 more to make it to the grand final.
Yep.
That is going to be Nightfall picking up the win, and now it's just TF Fizz. TF Fizz, 2 games to go. Just has to win 1 of them, and he makes it to the grand finals. He will return for next week's fight night as well. Yep. And Deach, I mean, already comes in back on top. We've had him win 2 fight nights in the past. He always has a good performance, and yeah, comes out screaming his way through the bracket, only dropping barely into the losers, and looking very good for himself with TF Fizz being the deck remaining.
Yep, but I mean, we know historically TLC versus TF Fizz is quite favored to the TLC deck in general, but also TF Fizz just doesn't care what your opponent is playing a lot of the time. So we shall see. This certainly is a hand that can deal with some early aggression for sure, but still, mod check Lissandra. Where's she at? Where are these champs?
Yeah, getting a lot of juicies from Deach.
Yeah.
He preempted the juicy, but did he hit the suit up? No, but it is a ballistic bot. Pretty solid start.
Yeah, ballistic bot, pretty good too. Okay. Open
Just go for the 3. Yeah.
Unless. Okay, this is still going to be pretty good for Sqweeby. Kindly Tavern Keeper can counteract that, and it will prevent an attack from... will likely prevent an attack from the Ballistic Bot, and Fizz, excuse me, can still get dealt with an Ice Shard, or Sqweeby can just take another 2. It's fine. He's got life to give via the Catalyst and the Blighted Ravine.
Yeah, I guess he's holding on to the Ice Shard. He probably wants to cast an Avalanche pretty soon here, so he's just deciding, like, okay, well, the Fizz is going to get 2 here, but it will die soon enough. And now we got a TF. Yeah, I mean, that's perfect timing to just rip an Avalanche here and take out TF and Fizz.
Yeah, can also Blighted Ravine here. It's roughly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, although, yeah.
The tough thing is if one of the 2 cards that was drawn here is going to be a suit up for Deach and be playable with this 3-banked mana. That does start to be a little bit tough for Sqweeby, but he does have enough different avenues of removal.
Yep.
It should be all right either way.
Yeah, the suit up is the same against Blighted Ravine and against Avalanche.
Yeah, so. It is. Yeah, both of those plays are unchanged by anything that each does here. They're the same effectively in this spot.
Yep. But as it stands, this Blighted Ravine is doing pretty much exactly what you put it in the deck for, which is to clear away a potentially scary board.
Yeah, does just that. Fizz and TF down. A lot of AoE removal still remaining for Burbles and the like with these avalanches and the Ice Shard. Another Ballistic Bot going to hit the board, so going to continue to poke away with Ignitions, at the very least for Deach.
Yep.
He's got essentially a 10-turn clock of double Ignition.
Yep.
Ready to go.
Well, there's Lissandra.
Yeah, that can counter the Ignition game plan as well.
Eventually, but I mean, if it's countering the Ignition game plan, you're probably winning.
Yeah, I mean, probably yes.
But like, we see one piece of the combo, arguably 2 with the Fading Memories, but like, you need more. Sqweeby needs more. Sqweeby can not lose for a while, but winning is not quite in sight yet.
Yeah, and Deach can definitely continue to just draw through his deck and burn through the resources of Sqweeby, especially if he can force out some more of this AoE before getting down to the Burbles. That can really, really help out his chances in this match. Just continue to buff up these Ballistic Bots as well with the Ignitions on each turn.
Yep. Yeah, I like this a lot from Deach. Like, you are committing the smallest amounts necessary to put pressure and force additional cards out of Sqweeby. You get an ice shard out of here, you traded an ice shard for a fizz. And then the first ballistic bot traded parts of it for other parts of cards, but getting one for ones is great because eventually you can get to a point where you're playing a bunch of burbles or you're getting a wide board and then you land a mind meld, and you're gonna be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the goal here.
Okay,
For Deach is just keep drawing through the deck and playing as much to the board as possible without overcommitting. Yep. Looking for those big burble iterative turns, trying to find what they can. But Deach is going to fire off another ignition, continuing to poke away and slow playing this as much as possible, as that is a catalyst though for Sqweeby. The heal and the ramp going to both be massive overall in this game.
Yep. See, maybe pick a card, refill for Deach. Oh, get excited upstairs. Okay. Okay. Sqweeby, I mean, Sqweeby could play Lysandra. It's not super vulnerable. I mean, it's not going to die this turn, right? And in general, it's pretty tough for Deach to be able to kill it, especially with a get excited fired off there. I don't necessarily think that you have to play it if you're Sqweeby because, it just makes your avalanches slightly more awkward. They don't do full damage to Lysandra, but all of a sudden, another get excited kills Lysandra. If there's a couple of mystic shots, all of a sudden Lysandra's now potentially dying. And like you've talked about all tournament, Lysandra needs to level up in order to reasonably win.
Yeah, I mean, it has to get there for that win to happen. And finding a way for Deach to actually get around this is still a win con, right? If the Lysandra dies, Sqweeby doesn't find another one.
Right.
Can be a big concern overall. I'm curious what this 5-card hand is like. Pick a card. Maybe a little bit on air anymore. Right now. A little bit on air right now, and gonna have to be just trying to draw into as much.
Okay. Each now with an almost full grip. Second Lysandra drawn is a little bit of reprieve for Sqweeby, but again, still not really progressing the win condition.
Another ignition coming out. We'll see how many of these fleeting cards Deach can actually get through on this turn. Sqweeby's still, in a solid position, holding on to the avalanches, but of course, like we've mentioned, has not been able to progress his win con whatsoever. And it's just been the nature of this hand. It is a tough hand to play, but it does have a lot of tools that he needs to protect himself. So overall, Sqweeby's still in a safe spot, even though he's not in a winning spot just yet.
Yeah, as safe of a spot as you can be in against a Twisted Fate Fizz that has, 7 cards in hand? Okay. Blue card coming out, and Sqweeby can't really do anything about that at this speed, so if Deach has a suit up, it's going to feel pretty great for Deach, but if he doesn't, this is going to feel pretty great for Sqweeby. There it is.
There it is. Yeah, suit up.
Now, was that a 2-mana or a 4-mana suit up?
I believe it was 2.
Okay, so technically could have another 2-mana suit up because there were multiple cards drawn this turn, but it would need to be that in order to save this Twisted Fate from the second avalanche.
Yeah, but if second avalanche is committed, that's pretty good for Deach because it kind of opens up the world of burbles.
Oh, yeah.
To actually be able to start looking for the win, and he's going to go for the pick a card.
Okay.
That pretty much forces Sqweeby. I mean, it puts him in a position where it's really tough to decide, right? Because if he doesn't kill the TF,
There's
The TF is in a good spot to level up, but if he does kill the TF, then he might just lose to Burbles because he has no AoE. And once again, he's just drawing a bunch of Spectral Matrons.
Okay, though, this is quite nice because now Sqweeby is actually threatening to win next turn. Matron on Watcher plus a 0-cost Watcher is threatening to win next turn. So now Deach needs to win this upcoming turn through a tough Nexus. That was actually an insanely good top deck on the side of Sqweeby. TF, though, does level.
Yep, there it is.
But there's no incidental damage from red cards unless you can kill the Lysandra. Also, if Sqweeby attacks, Deach has to block or do something, right? He'll likely get a gold card, but...
Yep, should be able to get to gold relatively easy with 6 mana.
I mean, is this just... Do you have Mind Meld or not? Is this what this is turning into?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's kind of where we're at. It's going to be, you know, probably a couple of Burbles and a Meld. And there's freezes on Sqweeby's side, but depending on how wide Deach can go, that's really just going to be the question.
Okay. Well, okay, so Sqweeby not putting any additional pressure on by attacking like that just doesn't really do anything, but it's also a free attack. Essentially, you know, a pass. A free pass, rather. Now, right now, even if a Mind Meld was 20 or 21, rather, it would not kill through the Harsh Winds.
Yep. There's Iterative. More Burbles being created, but is Deach going to commit them to the board? I mean, the Avalanche is still hanging in there for Sqweeby.
Yeah. I'm curious what the count is on Mind Meld, because if it's... Well, actually... Sqweeby's going to have the ability to stop 3 attackers. So Deach needs to put forth 4 elusive 14 power attackers right now. This is the current bar that needs to be surpassed. Okay. Rummage.
Suit up.
Suit up is big.
Okay.
Interesting.
Holds on to an extra Burble.
This is probably Mind Meld if I had to guess, and I don't think it's going to be big enough. Or it's definitely not going to be big enough because we see the Harsh Winds.
Yeah, I mean, Harsh Winds and Entomb available.
Harsh Winds,
Meld.
Entomb, technically Vengeance would also...
It's a 13 Meld as well.
That's not even big enough anyway. Well, I mean, it would be big enough if Sqweeby was on air right now. Ooh, don't Harsh Winds in response. Oh boy, don't Harsh Winds in response. Okay. I mean, this looks like it should be pretty tied up for Sqweeby here. I mean, just Harsh Winds, forehead.
Yeah, I mean, he should just be able to Harsh Winds this and be just fine. Another Burble gonna come down.
Okay, so still technically doesn't need to use the Avalanche. Can also Fading Memories a Burble and just block.
Yeah, potentially the case.
Yeah, don't need the Fading Memories for offense, so... Okay, the awkward thing is that if he plays Burblefish, now his Avalanche doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, his Avalanche won't do anything, but
Go hard. Anybody remember Go Hard?
just looking for a way that Deach wins this, but I don't think that it exists because this Harsh Winds is going to be doing so much work. This might...
Yeah.
I mean, this could just force a Vile Feast so that you can just chump block the Twisted Fate.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you also don't even technically need the Lysandra anymore. So, like, worst case scenario, you can still just block with Lysandra. The Ice Shard doesn't really do anything here. I don't think. I guess it allows you to go hard.
Sets up go hard, yeah.
Other Burble, but that also doesn't do anything. That
Yeah, Vile's actually just better because the spider can just block the TF and you can freeze the other two.
Yep. Go hard win condition activate.
Another Burble. I mean, this one you could just Vile. Get the block for TF.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you want to do it if only to block the TF. Killing the 3/1 doesn't actually matter. We shall see.
I'm trying to think like why you wouldn't Vile. Like, is there a reason you're holding on to this? It feels like the spider blocking a 13 attack champion is going to be probably the best use you'll get out of the spider all game, and the Vile itself doesn't get better than killing a Burble.
Maybe Sqweeby just really hates Lysandra.
Yeah, let's see, he's at 11 mana, so does he want to play Entomb then? Alright, 5 plus 6. I mean, that's got to be what he's playing for, right? If he doesn't want to Vile.
Yeah, this is just seems a little bit silly to me, I guess. Because the same mana could be committed, except you would have a Lysandra in play instead of a 1/1.
Yeah, maybe changed his mind here and didn't want to go for the, like, originally wanted to go for the Entomb, but decided against it.
Well, I guess you get to play another Lysandra. I don't think it really matters much because I'm pretty sure unless Deach can find 15 here, it's just over. Even has board space. To do the full combo here. But Deach is going to try to deal with it on full mana, or sorry, not full, well, on 10 mana and a grip full of cards. Patron comes out. First Watcher.
Yeah, I mean, let's see if counterfeit copies or something like that was pulled. Or Deach.
Oh, right.
Did
Counterfeit
he
copies.
Did he just rummage your counterfeit copies?
Wait.
Does he have an extra one?
Wait. I know he rummaged a Death Ray before.
Okay, he gets the stun, so he's not losing his deck anyway. Well, at least,
Right.
well, not to
He's
this
not losing
one.
his deck to that one. Yeah.
There's another one though.
Yes.
I'm curious. I'm very curious.
Yeah. If he just rummaged some counterfeit copies, that was a throw. Unless he has another one.
What's the other answer that he's got? That is my question here.
If he has a Death Ray, that's fine. That
But
is
even if you
enough.
have multiple counterfeit copies, you still want them, right? You still want to have,
yeah, for sure.
because you've got a level TF. You're drawing 2 cards.
If you have 2
every
counterfeit
turn.
copies, you want to counterfeit copies of counterfeit copies.
Deck's gone.
Yeah, you absolutely need counterfeit copies. Yeah, the Death Ray is not even enough.
I don't think we're dealing 15 through tough here.
Twisted Fates pick a card does not do it, and another pick a card does not do it.
All right.
And
All right.
Fish could get counterfeit copies.
Which at this point you're drawing 6, so that isn't gonna really help. Well, it would. No, you're actually drawing 7. And then TF would also do more. Yeah, Death
That's not
Ray.
enough.
Nope. That's not gonna do it. So
Yeah, I think that was if that was a counterfeit copies rummaged away, that was definitely a misplay.
yeah, I'm wondering how much it would matter, but at least to some extent, you know, it's your out, right? Your out is the counterfeit copies. But that is just gonna be the game. And now Sqweeby ties it up 1-1.
Yeah.
And it will just be one match to decide between these two who will move on to face up against Rise Black ID in the grand finals. It is going to be Fizz TF versus Twisted Fate Aphelios.
Yep.
And well, I mean, this has been our life, Blev. This has been our life for the past few weeks. A lot of these decks are really just showing up and being strong. And once again, they are moving towards the final. They are in the top 3.
Yep.
Only one of them will remain standing, moving into the final, faced off against Rise Black ID.
Yeah, I will say I think in general Deach is probably pretty favored in this matchup. There aren't a ton of great ways to interact with Twisted Fate on the side of Sqweeby, whereas Deach has Mystic Shots, Get Excited, etc. So in the Twisted Fate versus Twisted Fate, just heads up matchup, Deach is favored. And Sqweeby also doesn't really have a great way to deal with a big mind meld. So those two things compounded, generally not the best recipe for Sqweeby. Now, of course, we don't see Deach's hand. We're going in a little bit blind here. So, I mean, Deach could be bricked, but does TF really ever brick? Yes.
I mean, not really. They get out of their bricks pretty easy because there's just so much card draw in the deck that even when their hand looks pretty rough, there's so many outs that they can find. And well, Twisted Fate on 4.
Yeah. I mean, look at
looking
this.
pretty good for Deach.
What is Sqweeby going to do here? Play a Veiled Temple and have to fight against a leveled up Twisted Fate the rest of the game? Like, now there's a chance that Deach doesn't have a pick a card here. Always a possibility.
It could happen. You know, one time it could happen. But this is not that time.
Not Deach.
This is not that time, Blevins.
Not on my watch.
There will be a pick a card there. We're likely to see that level up from the TF come relatively quickly.
Yep. I mean, it is a rummage plus either another rummage or a stress testing. Could also be like a rummage plus zap spray fin. Pick a card that actually doesn't do it. And unfortunately, oh, actually, no. Sqweeby actually can threaten to kill Twisted Fate here with Aphelios plus Crescendum.
Yep, Aphelios, Crescendum, find the Boxtopus.
Yeah, so if there's no rummage here, TF dead. Okay, gotcha doesn't matter.
No, I mean, it's just going to be a big Boxtopus instead.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter in regards to the Twisted Fate living. This Twisted Fate is dead.
It's huge for Sqweeby.
Yeah, and I mean, unless there's a follow-up Twisted Fate from Deach, which there certainly could be, considering, you know, there's a pick a card on deck here. All of a sudden, Deach is left 7 life less healthy, 7 health lower, whatever, however you want to. It's been a long day, Casa, and with nothing to show for it. Oh,
and there's the rummage.
Rip.
No board, no mana. On the other side, Sqweeby has a wealth of resources with double Temple alive and well, setting himself up.
Yeah, I mean, Deach really needed to hit and level up that Twisted Fate that turn, because now it's going to get out of control for Sqweeby very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge already, right? This board is already getting massive. Boxtopus can deal with the threats. These double temples gonna just give a wealth of resources, and there is even a mind meld in hand already for Sqweeby if he can get enough spell casts out to actually make it worthwhile. Already down to 13 health on the side of Deach.
Yeah, I mean Sqweeby could theoretically win next turn.
Absolutely.
Which would be crazy only in the sense that a Sqweeby match ended before round 58. Which we have not quite seen happen today.
Yeah, Sqweeby's matches have been on the long end. He's been taking his time. Really trying to make the best plays. And, you know, we've seen probably not the cleanest we've ever seen Sqweeby today. It's been a little bit of a shaky one, but he's getting the results.
Soggy slopster, a little bit.
Yeah, he's getting the results at the end of the day. He's made this massive losers run. He's been playing so much Runeterra.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's finally getting towards the end. And it's not even done. Even if he beats Deach, that's just to get to the grand final.
Yeah. Okay, there is a destroyer, which might be destroying Deach here. Of course, it won't win this turn, but you know, we'll certainly be putting on pressure. The big old Boxtopus doing work as well. The I guess the temple buffs haven't happened yet, so there's, you know, 4 more mana on the way. You won't overwrite a temple with a new temple.
Just for fun, yeah.
It's for funsies. We could see a big red card. We have another... Yep. No, we don't have another 1 cost. We don't have another cheap spell, or else we could see red card plus Burble overriding both temples, and that's probably game.
Yeah, red card already gets us fairly close.
Yep.
But of course there is 8 mana on the side of Deach to try and stop this. But it does feel like Sqweeby's just kind of on that victory march.
Yep.
So much threat on the board already. Removing 2 blockers here with the red card. Gonna put Deach to 12. We've got the 9 attack on the Destroyer. Going to be threatening to push even more. And even though we are going to see this Mystic Shot pop the Spell Shield, I'm curious. Does that just mean Gold card is Deach's only out that he's got in this spot? And yeah, it is going to be the Gold card.
Yeah, but I mean, well, I mean, another turn. Huh. I mean, another turn could mean a lot, Cass. So there's been a lot of spells. If we can see, I mean, we look at it, there's not really a good answer to multiple Burblefish into a Mind Meld right now.
Yeah, I mean, this has to be the burbliest turn we've ever seen from Deach if this is going to be a victory.
Yeah, that Mystic Shot doesn't make me think that that's the case, though. That Mystic Shot probably would have went upstairs if that was the case. And, oh, Twisted Fate can stop some burbles.
Yeah, he's got 3 potential stops for mind-melded burbles here with Hush, an additional burble, and a TF's Gold card.
It's actually crazy considering the Mystic Shot killed the TF. So now if Deach, like, I guess it doesn't really matter against iterative burbles, but if it was multiple regular burbles, red card could stop it. All right. I mean, Sqweeby has his own burble here. They get a parlay, which is certainly relevant.
Yeah, we are getting more burbles, but parlay can take care of one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're out of Mind Meld, mana. Mind Meld, I don't think was even going to be lethal anyway at this point.
No, it would not have been. And it looks like Sqweeby's got it. It looks like he has made the full run. I think he's there. I mean, this is just waiting for this turn to end to get in with the Destroyer.
Right. Each down to 6, down to 4 mana, Zap Spray Fin, a Desperation, Zap Spray Fin. There's not even like a pick a card that's locked and loaded. There's not even an errant TF in play that's potentially threatening. We're not going into Deach's attack token. I mean, this is just it, right? I mean, Deach would need to play like double Get Excited plus Mystic Shot just to threaten to kill the Destroyer, and that won't kill if Sqweeby has 2 spells because of the Temple, and also won't kill through Pale Cascade.
Yep, Pale.
This is just it.
Yeah, Sqweeby's done it. The full run back. Lose round 1, make it to the grand finals, get that invite back, and now Sqweeby will just have Rise Black ID to contend with. Try and become a Fight Night champion, and we will have a new Fight Night champion. One who has not won before tonight.
Yeah.
Because both Sqweeby and Rise Black ID, I believe, is their first times at Fight Night in particular.
So.
And both of them have had amazing performances today. Sqweeby, this has been a taxing run for him. Not only has he gone through the entire losers bracket, they have been long games. They have been very, like, a lot of different lines that could have been taken. Some he probably didn't play perfect. Some he made really great plays. And end of the day, he found the wins. And he's going to be moving on to face against Rise Black ID. I mean, this is just spectacularly done. That's a big losers bracket. We don't see it so often.
Yeah.
That happens, but sometimes able to make that whole run. Only Deach was able to take him down so far, and
even
Deach was the last one that Sqweeby had to beat to make the finals.
Yeah. So even if Deach has, so we know that at least one Mystic Shot has been played. Even if Deach has triple Get Excited, double Mystic Shot, it's not enough to kill Sqweeby here. Also, that would be exactly 13 mana, which Deach doesn't have. Oh, and even if there's some miracle, the Deach had 14 burn, doesn't matter. Sqweeby sending it in. There's the rummage, a little late. Deach giving the thumbs up and the Shen. GG, and that's going to be it. Sqweeby making the run all the way from losing the first round up and now making it to the grand finals. But it's not quite the full run yet, Casa.
Not quite.
Still has one. Still has, if he wants to make the full run, he still has 2 more best of 3s to get through.